So, how has the Spats Base 2 base layer performed over the last few months? Well, hang about and I'll tell you. Welcome back to the channel. I'm John, the Ribble Valley Cyclist. In this video, I want to give you my thoughts about the Spats Base 2 base layer and how it's performed in the last 3 winter months. But before I do that, what do you think of the new workshop? So this new workshop took me roughly 2 weeks to build. It's my all singing, all dancing, dedicated cycling workshop. And I've done it because I've relocated. I'm now on the edge of the Peak District. Property I moved into didn't have space for all this stuff. So that does beg the question, if I'm now in the Peak District, what do I do with the name of the cycling channel? Do I continue to leave it as the Ribble Valley Cyclist, or do I change the name of the channel? What do you think? Should I change it? If I should change it, what should I change it to? Or should I just leave it as is? Because it doesn't really matter. Stick a comment below. Right, anyway, enough about this new workshop. What you've come to see is the Spats base layer, so let's have a chat about that. So when it comes to base layers, I've always been a bit of a traditionalist. You know, on the cooler days, it's just a thin one. And those proper winter rides go for long sleeve merino wool one with a jacket over the top. And if it's so cold that that doesn't work, then you start adding jerseys, don't you? So that's the way I've always done it. But I'm noticing, I'm out on my bike in the cycling cafes up in the hills, and I'm seeing more and more cyclists are dumping merino wool for a heavy, long-sleeved, synthetic, technical base layer. So I thought to myself, what's all that about? So I thought, you know what, I'm going to try one myself. Now, the one I went for is the Spats, because the reason I went for the Spats one is because UK-based company, I've had all their products before, and they have always delivered on their promise, and I've always found their product to be fantastic, so that's why I've gone for their one, but other base layers are available. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to have a quick look over the base layer, point out like the key features of it, and then we'll go for a spin on the bike, have a chat about what it's like out on the bike, get back and then do a summary of what it's like. Okay, so let's take a closer look at the base layer. Excuse the cycling denim combo, I just thought I'd save you the eyesore of having to deal with me in full cycling regalia. Right, I'll put the laptop out because I'm the world's most forgetful person and I will forget something on the list of things to mention about this base layer. So, okay, so first thing on my list is the high neck. So what they've done is they've literally, as it looks, given it a high neck, like a bit like a polo jumper almost. But the material they've used is quite a thick, it's quite a dense material and it's double layered. So the idea of that is just literally to protect your neck as you're going along. Thumb hoops, get rid of that. Thumb hoops. So what they've done is they have literally given you a thumb hoop to put your thumb through to help hold the base layer in place. And the most clever part of this base layer, out of all the little bits and bobs about it, is the fabric that they've used. Because what they've done is they've incorporated different types of fabric with different weaves and different densities in different areas of your body, depending on what that particular area will require. So, for example, if you were to look at the arms, the chest, all the way down the back, you'll find it's got this almost like a ruched type material, where it actually, the weave makes the fabric quite thick and dense, and what that's doing is that's trapping air pockets. So in those areas of like high traffic where the wind's blowing on your chest or around your back all the way down to your kidneys where you need that warmth at the top of your arms, it's trapping pockets of air to keep you warm. But you don't want that over the whole garment. So for example, around your elbows, they've put like a thinner material, like a ribbed material that allows for flexibility around the arms. And then on the actual sleeves, the end of the sleeves, they put quite a thin material so it doesn't give you any hassle with like your jacket or your gloves. And they've also put that thinner material around the front, so when you're bent over on the bike, it doesn't like rub and such and so forth. So that, for me, the key thing with this base layer, all these other stuff is good, but the key thing is the different types of material around the jacket. And the other thing is, they've extended the back So the idea is once you're on the bike and you're bent over, the whole thing doesn't ride up and you end up with a cold section. It covers your kidneys and such and so forth. And apparently the material is high wicking. Now I won't pass comment, oh yes, I've been wearing this for 3 months, but let's get out on the bike, give it a try and see how the base layer feels on the bike. I think the worst place is to spend a Thursday afternoon. Don't let the sunshine fool you. It's about 2 degrees and there's a bit of a headwind. So I'm going to do a bit of audio on the bike, but I'm not sure if it's going to work because it's quite blowy. I think it might just blow the microphone a bit, but let's give it a go. The main thing I find with this base layer is I don't really need to wear anything else other than a jacket. I'm quite high up where I am now, a few hundred feet up, and what you'd normally find on a cold day like today, you'd have a long sleeve jersey on as well, and even like a little rain mac over the top to try and trap a bit of warm air. But with the Spats base layer, you don't need it. It just those little air pocket things, they just seem to sort the problem out and keep you nice and warm. So for the first time, I'm able to go up high places like this with just a base layer and a jacket. It's unusual, really. It's quite a clever bit of kit. What I have found on some of the longer rides is that the little thumb hole things, they can rub a bit. It's a bit hard to explain when I'm on the bike. When we get back to the workshop, I'll try and explain it in a bit more detail. Glorious weather, huh? Look at this. Loving it. Okay then, so to conclude, what do I think of the Spats Base 2 base layer? Well, to summarise, it's pretty simple. What do I personally want from a base layer? Well, what I personally want, one thing, I just want it to keep me warm. With this base layer, I only need to wear the base layer and the jacket, and for me, that is a first. I've never had an experience before where in the worst of winter, I've only needed a base layer and a jacket. So for that reason and that reason alone, yeah, it's absolutely fantastic, and it wins for me. What's it like price-wise? Price-wise, it's more expensive than your typical merino wool base layer. At making this video, which is Feb 23, this base layer, I think on the Spats website, is £75. A decent merino wool base layer, you're looking at around about £50. You know what, you pay your money, you take your choice. I know what I would personally do. Is this base layer perfect? No, it's not perfect. The thing I would say is a negative about it for me personally I think the thumb holes are a great idea. I just don't think they're quite right. I think they're too small and there's a seam here. So what I'm personally finding is they're rubbing. At very long rides, they're rubbing, and also it's not the best place to put a seam. I know nothing about making garments, maybe it's the only place you can put it, but for a cycling specific base layer, well, that's where you are on the hoods. So is that the best place to have that seam? Is it possible to manufacture this without that seam? I don't know. Mr. Spats, what do you think? But it's causing a problem for me on longer rides, but it's not much of a problem because you just do that. There you go, the problem's gone away. So for me, my overall opinion of the Spats Base 2 base layer is yes, it's a fantastic base layer. So if winter cycling is your thing, check that link up there. My top 10 bits of winter cycling kit. Also from Spats, I've recently reviewed their cycling specific winter gloves. Well worth a watch, you'll find that link down there. And if you found this content useful, make sure you hit subscribe and you'll get notified about my upcoming videos. Thanks for watching.